Good morning, everyone. Um, Thank you for the introduction, Kerry. So as you can see, this is a real team effort on behalf of Woollahra Council, something which we're all passionate about. There is one member of our team who's not presenting. I don't want to embarrass her, but Caitlin Moffat, I have to acknowledge, is really a driving force at Woollahra, and she's responsible for the master plan and does a wonderful job. So thank you to all of you. This is a great example of how council, local council, can work together with the community to make a difference, a real difference at grassroots level. We've always said it's unfortunate we've got this suicide hotspot in Woollahra, but we're fortunate we were able to do something about it. So these are the accolades, something, it's been recognised as world's best practice. There's been a case study done by Melbourne Uni, and also in 2011 we were awarded a life award by Suicide Prevention Australia, something which we're very proud of. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, this is Gap Park. It's always been called The Gap, and unfortunately the name The Gap has become synonymous with suicide. So one of the things we've tried to do to destigmatise is call it Gap Park. It's a softer word for it. So that is a beautiful part of Sydney. You've got the two areas really where most prominent for suicide. Gap proper, which is up the top, and Jacob's Ladder, which is down this area. So this is what the park, Gap Park, looked like before we started the master plan. It was tired, it was run down, a state of disrepair, not very attractive, even though it was such a magnificent tourist spot. You also, importantly, you could not see the actual gap area where people do suicide. You could not see it from the street. It was all closed in with bushes and a small stairway. So this is the beginning. This actually started in 2005. I was elected to Woollahra Council and ran the Community Safety Committee. And I read an article in the local paper saying we need lighting at the Gap to help prevent suicide. It's dark, lonely, there was absolutely no lighting. I took that idea, for not knowing what I was going to do with it, and formed a working party in February 2006. A small working party, community members, Rose Bay local area command, members of council, and the first thing we did was ask for lighting. The police said, please, can you install CCTV cameras as well? That'll be really helpful. So we engaged consultants who were really landscape consultants, and then we started a whole community consultation program, and this was really important. We got mental health experts to come and talk to the community committee that I ran. I wanted it to be owned by the community and driven by the community. And they did. The community became so passionate about this. And then the local newspaper came on board, the Wentworth Courier. So it was a whole team effort, a community-wide effort. And it became Fund the Gap, because we really had to struggle to get the funding in the end, which took a number of years. And the Wentworth Courier used to run this Fund the Gap campaign, and community members were doing all they can. It was difficult to get it going, but as I always say, it's a no-brainer, because now that it is what it is, everyone's so proud of it. But it really is important to engage the community early on, which is what we did. So this is really what it is today, and that is the importance of the community consultation. So we then move on to we realise that as a council, we're not mental health experts. We have no expertise, so we needed to take on partners. The original stakeholders were the Woollahra Council and Rose Bay Local Area Command. And to a certain extent, National Parks and Wildlife were involved because their property borders Gap Park, and I know John will talk about that later. Lifeline came on board fairly early, as did Black Dog Institute. We partnered with Black Dog Institute in about 2 minutes. Oh my goodness.
Because you're dividing yourselves up.
I think I'm going to take the larger part,
yep.
if that's okay.
That's fine.
In 2009, Black Dog came on board, and that's when we started presenting wellness, mental health evenings at Woollahra Council, and Sarah's going to talk more fully about that. So this is the actual master plan, too detailed to speak about now, but I can talk to any of you in the break. It was the idea was to have a holistic approach, not just a suicide prevention approach. So to make it a more active park where families would want to come and picnic, tourists would come at night, walk up and down, be a pleasant place to be. So that's what it is today after the upgrade. You can see the much more attractive wide stairway where you can see the actual top of the park. We have these sculptures, sandstone sculptures to beautify. So it's an attractive park filled with people all the time. On a hot summer's night, you get masses of people walking through, which is part of the idea of activating the park. This is the lighting. So the original idea of lighting, we used it in a very subtle way. Yellow, soft lighting rather than a bright white. It comes from under the seating, doesn't shine in a person's face, so it's not stark and harsh. And the fence was designed so it's curved inwards, so difficult to get over, but easier to climb back if anyone changes their mind. Also, the idea, some people wanted a very high fence, but we felt, no, that it would make it jail-like. But also, we were advised by mental health experts that it's as much a psychological barrier as a physical barrier. So we've got the telephones, tamper-proof at the top and bottom. So if anyone sees someone in distress, they can have tamper-proof free telephone to both the 000 and Lifeline, and Lifeline provides a dedicated counsellor. So if there's a call from, they know it's from Gap Park, it doesn't stay in the queue, it jumps to a dedicated counsellor. There was always an idea that we would have a reflection area where people, if people need to go and reflect, either families, bereaved families, or people at risk. Don Ritchie was a very important part of the community consultation. You may have read about him, they called him the angel at the Gap. He used to save people, he lived opposite. And for many years he used to go and talk to people, talk them off the edge, bring them home for tea with him and his wife. They reckon he saved about 400 people over his time. So Don passed away in 2012, and we've dedicated this grove, which is really a reflection area, to him, and it's a very appropriate place for people to be. Also, we have these signs from Lifeline and Black Dog about you have a friend, there's help at hand, all the things that was advised by both Black Dog and Lifeline, and hopefully those have an impact. So I'll now call on John, if he'd like to come up and talk about the technicalities.
Thanks, Isabelle. Firstly, thanks for having me here today to speak on the project. So I started at Rose Bay in 2012, and the timing of my arrival at Rose Bay aligned, I suppose, with the upgrade of the project out at Gap Park. So 2013 we had the installation of extra cameras at the location. Those cameras are motion activated, which enables us to know when people are on the incorrect side of the fence and respond to jobs out at the park. So as you can see on the image here, this is an example of one of the cameras. It's a thermal image. So when there's movement on the incorrect side of the fence, it triggers an alarm, which is monitored by a security company 24/7. Part of the process of putting this together, police all along insisted that we don't have the resources to sit and monitor cameras for a location, and that it was important that a security company be brought on so that side of the project is done correctly. Because we couldn't provide the resource, we needed to have a resource that was available 24/7. So the way it operates is that alarm triggers, the security company will monitor the vision. If it's one person on the incorrect side of the fence, they'll call 000. That way we know that that call is going through straight away. If it's two people or more on the incorrect side of the fence, we get a lot of tourists that go to the incorrect side, they will call directly to the police station. From that point on, we have the exact same setup at the police station. Is it the top button or
Right one.
right one?
Yes.
So we have the exact same setup at the police station that the security company have. So the moment that a job is initiated and it is broadcast, we then take carriage of it then, and we begin monitoring and advising our crews on the ground where someone is. This is an image from one of the screens with our system. So we've broken up the area. It's quite a significant area to cover through the bushland. So prior to these cameras, if we had a job at Gap Park, we would have a car crew attend Jacob's Ladder in the south and up to Gap Bluff in the north, and basically walk the fence line and meet in the middle. Quite a time-staking way of doing things, and that's time that is crucial in potentially saving someone's life. So with this system, we can be directed exactly to the point where someone is on the incorrect side of the fence and needs help. These are further images of the system in action. As you can see, we get a bit of wildlife up there, but that's all filtered by the security company, so they're jobs that we don't need to respond to. Another advantage that we've had from this system is the lifeline phones that are located at Gap Bluff and Jacob's Ladder that Isabelle spoke of. We were getting a lot of false activations, that whether it be tourists at the location thinking that it was a help box or kids mucking around, that used a lot of police resources. We would have to activate Pol Air, Water Police, all of our car crews to ensure that somebody hadn't actually gone over the fence. Since the introduction of this system, we can immediately check the cameras in that area and monitor where the person has gone from there and make a determination. So it's beneficial in terms of the resources and also our response to a job. Obviously, jobs at this location, we attend under lights and sirens. Those sort of jobs now we can downgrade, which is obviously safer to the community and ourselves in getting to the job. This is an example of, in the upgrade, there were illuminators added to the cameras. So this was prior to the upgrade and post the upgrade. So as you can see from that image there, we can actually identify someone from that image, whereas previously it was quite grainy. The park itself goes up into National Parks territory. They've recently completed an upgrade of their walkway and fences, which is based upon the same model that Woollahra Council used with the rollover fence coming back in, and we have a number of cameras up in their area. I won't speak on funding, but I'll quickly touch on some statistics from the area and the potentials that can come out of this project. So prior to the 2013 upgrade of the CCTV, police were roughly attending the location 200 to 300 times a year. We would have, on average, 7 deceased, and we were having 54 mental health interventions. So that's negotiating with someone on the incorrect side of the fence and then introducing them into the mental health system. Since the 2013 upgrade, we're still maintaining a level of around 7 to 8 deceased. That is what we were expecting. We weren't expecting to have a decline in that number. We were actually expecting an increase because it was our belief in the past that there were people that were actually jumping which we weren't aware of. The significant number that has come out of it though is the intervention. So our interventions have gone up to 100. So that's double the number. The positives of that, I guess there's two ways to look at it. Those people are either people that we previously weren't aware of and jumped, or they're people that had attended the location with the intention of suicide and have changed their mind. However, they've left the location with no mental health intervention. So that extra 50 people per year that we're having an intervention with, we're introducing into the mental health system. So it's an opportunity for them that wasn't previously available. So that's quite a significant factor. The other thing that we're starting to get out of the project is, as police, we're starting to formulate our own data on the people that are actually attending the location. And one of the interesting things that we found in the first 12 months is that 50% of the people that we have had intervention with at Gap Park have previously been known to police for domestic violence, whether that be as a victim, as a perpetrator, or as someone who has lived in a household with domestic violence that police have been involved in. So there are a lot of opportunities out there now in terms of research, which could then lead into prevention tools. It's something that we're aware of as police. With a project like this, it's quite easy to just let it tick along now, as it's been successful, but we go back into just that reactive mode. But there's a lot of proactive opportunities out there now, and I know Rose Bay Police, along with people like Caitlin from Woollahra, who does a great job, have been having a lot of meetings with different stakeholders to try and get some of those research projects up and running and to increase the funding which is much needed for the area.
So I'm here on behalf of Woollahra Council as a council that is engaged in mental health and suicide prevention activities. So part of my work as a community development officer is shaped around our delivery program and operational plan here, which is basically our strategic planning document. So as you can see, part of the, which one is it, sorry? As you can see under the slide, the theme community wellbeing, one of our goals is to ensure the community is supported. We do this by ensuring the community has access to services and activities that support the promotion of good mental health, which will lead to residents feeling a high sense of wellbeing. So we find strength in partnership. These are a lot of the organisations that we currently work closely with, just because council recognises that suicide prevention and mental health is not our core business. So we do this, we hope that it will reduce the incidence of mental health problems and self-harm in our local area and the flow-on effect that that has in the community. So today I'll briefly discuss some of Woollahra Council's programs and initiatives that have helped to build resilience and wellbeing in the community. I won't be discussing it all, so if you want to have a chat with me in the lunch break, please do. So we have a community education program called the Skill Up program. So it offers us a range of information sessions, activities and workshops to design and enhance quality of life and personal development. These community talks allow us to foster strong networks and partnerships with the local organisations. Some topics we have had over the last few years based around mental health and resilience are as follows up there, and in the brackets you can also see who we've partnered with on those. So the last one, mental health first aid. This one's particularly important, training that runs over 2 days. It provides participants with the skills to assist people experiencing mental health crisis, mental health problems, or the early stage of mental illness. Participants learn the signs and symptoms of mental health problems, where and how to get help, and what sort of help has been shown by research to be effective. We're going to be running this over 2 days in March next year. So building stronger communities. Listed here are initiatives that have contributed to building a strong community. They have been designed and implemented in collaboration with community members. In some instances, community leaders have been identified and have relished in the opportunity to lead a project that benefits the community. So some are directly with me in the community development, and down the bottom these are ones that we do through the library. So as I said, that was a very quick overrun of what we do. We will continue to be advised by organisations such as Lifeline and Black Dog Institute and local service providers who are currently providing mental health and suicide prevention services in the area. We will maintain existing partnerships and collaborate with new organisations to address the increasing rate of mental illness and suicide across Australia. So thank you for taking the time. It was very, very quick to fit in. We do have lots of other initiatives that we do, and if you want to know more about them, please come and chat with me. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Sarah. Thank you. And yeah.